And boom. Ah, perfect. Salutations, class, and welcome back. We'll be doing Dead Cells again today to celebrate the new DLC, and this time, hopefully, we'll be able to climb our way up that tower and defeat those three bosses. After all, I'm not going to quit until we can reach that final boss that we have, alternative to our usual one that we have to deal with. And I don't think we should have any issues about immediately jumping into it. Oh, load, you fiend. There we go. Alright, so again, as we found out yesterday, it seems that what I usually have as my controller seemed to have bugged out on us finally yesterday. We'll be doing a brutality build to start off with because we definitely need more screen time for our favorite little buddy bear. Balance blade and close range shield, as always. I'm going to have to get used to the new mix box instead for a different controller experience. Might take me a couple of floors to warm up, but so far, looks relatively promising. Let's bring out our little boy and then have him deal with a couple of these enemies. The earlier we bring him out, the earlier he's going to evolve. Alright, so it looks like our leg hugger goes ahead and breaks his shield pretty much before his first attack, so we will not be trying to parry any more of the oven knives. Not with that timing. It doesn't look like his attack makes most other enemies flinch, so it might only be an issue with the oven knights since they have the shields that will be broken from the first melee hit that they take. Teleporting coffin probably leads us over to the dilapidated arboretum. We got the loot, which is what we were looking for last time, so we might not need it again. Now we get to take whatever the heck route we want on the way there. We will not be swapping out our melee shield as it scales with brutality, currently our most important stat. Ah! There it is already. I guess that means we're fully leveled up for this first level. Ah! Well, still gonna take a little bit of time to get used to parrying and dodge rolling at all the times that we'll need to. If it were legendary, we'd actually be able to carry two of our little leg hugger boys, but unfortunately, the regular skills don't actually let you pick up two of them at once. Hey Joy, welcome. It is a joy to see you. Doing a little bit of Dead Cells since we're celebrating the new DLC release. Although, since this is a roguelike dungeon crawler, it's gonna be a while before we get into any of the new content. A wolf trap might actually help a little bit better for crowd control compared to the Crusher. Sure, the Crusher slows some enemies down, but the wolf trap itself will lock a few of them in place. With that benefit, we can make a few more matches completely one-sided. Now, I love me a good frying pan, but in this case, I think the balanced blade might actually be one of our best options. I think we can try to go for a similar build to what we were doing last time, focusing on getting as many crits as possible. A weird altar. Look at these little strange men holding it. And this is where we get the next weapon from one of the other indie games. Ah, the face flask. Crush a flask on your forehead, dealing low damage to yourself. So this one is used for what seems to be berserker type builds. For an amusing gimmick, let's give it a check. I'm not nearly as sick as how I've been, but I'm definitely having a few issues. I might be sounding different. A couple of my previous streams I have had a couple of viewers say I'm sounding a little bit under the weather still. Still lots of coughing, but I'm able to breathe through most of the day. It is a little difficult keeping it up for an entire stream, though. Toxic sewers. Let's go through... Toxic sewers probably works best for us with us having a close-range melee build. We don't have very many enemies that will be trying to escape us. As well, I don't know if we picked up the secret item that's in here yet. We have not! Over time, I'll try to remember bit by bit any of the other little secrets we haven't picked up. There's also a very important reason for us to head to the ossuary, because one of my favorite little perks is in there. Grappling hook might be interesting, but we'll try with our offensive build that we have instead. Sort of a berserking setup. I wonder what happens when we upgrade it. Okay, so it can come with a couple of extra little modifiers, and gives us a slight damage resist. We'll upgrade everything we have, as none of them have any particular synergies. A shame that that one has a bonus damage versus rooted targets, because that means that we've gotten rid of, well, the way we could have abused it. While we're trying a berserker build, we can definitely give vengeance a go, and essentially, we can use our flask as a way to buff our damage output. We'll wait until we take damage the first time, as it still would be very nice to go on a damage streak. A kill streak, of sorts. Ooh, what's in here? Health for us to return to later. Mushroom Boy is a liability, so we will not be picking that up. As expected, just lots of close-range fights for us to be having here. With all the flying enemies around, we mostly just need to jump up and give them a couple of shots. As always, bring back out our little boy. Look at him go. Eventually, he's going to evolve into an even more powerful version. I think it's actually pretty funny that they give us a pet with every new DLC. Of course, since this is Dead Cells, all the pets are essentially weapons. Bit sleepy. I mean, it is an early morning for you, I wouldn't blame you. It would be Saturday morning, isn't it? I'd always endorse an opportunity to just sleep in, get some rest. But it brings me no end to my joy to know that someone would be up so early to watch the professor. Ah, great. There goes our damage streak. So, I think you know what that means. We have not yet upgraded any of our alternative stats, so the first few here are going to give us very big health buffs. I wonder what other little gimmicks we can trigger while we have damage taken. And it seems like the duration of that buff applies for basically the entire duration of the cooldown of that move. If we can combine it with Instinct of the Master of the Arms, we can basically always give ourselves a little bit of a damage boost. This does come at a small expense of health, so if we can find any way to give ourselves a little bit of lifesteal... I actually have an idea for that. Hold on. There is one perk that you can get which gives you lifesteal for a brutality build. Let's check that wiki real quick because I don't remember where it's located. But it's a very important perk for us to get. Mutations, that's what they're called in this game. Sleep on Saturday, but it's a holiday till February. Ah! Well, that's a very long time to have off from school. I'm proud. Semester just ended in January. Interesting. In the States, they basically end December 18th or so. A week or so before Christmas, because that is, well, a very big holiday for Americans. We're not looking at Frenzy. What's the other one? Adrenaline. And we get those ones off of Rampagers. Ah, they don't appear until 3 BC, so we definitely need to make sure that we can beat this game. Get a few slices in there, and we're doing wonderfully. Now, every level has a couple of healing items that you can find, so in this case, we will definitely be able to restore our health after giving ourselves a little bit of damage. Let's see if we can go for another kill streak again. I suppose having a little berserker build would get in the way of that, but we do kind of have the weapons we'd want to be using. Muslim majority, so Christmas only holiday for the semester. Every university depends on when they start the semester. Ah. Yeah, around here it's usually January 20th is when college starts again. We will be focusing pretty much on brutality level ups every single time. That is, until we find a legendary weapon, which will be probably a change to brutality and survival scaling, as that always gives you the most amount of health. Well, I've taken damage, so back to berserking. Error! Welcome. As always, glad to see you. Same as yesterday here, we'll be doing a lot more Dead Cells, and this time hopefully getting to the end of the DLC. Knowing the sense of humor this game has, it's likely that whatever ending we get is still going to be kind of a nihilistic downer ending. Essentially, they'll be feeding into the joke of the fact that the beheaded here is never able to actually leave the island that they're trying to escape so much. Perhaps they are cursed with immortality to answer for their crimes as... Oh, that's a spoiler. I mean, you start out in a prison, so we know that our little boy here doesn't necessarily have the most positive of backstories, does he? We will not be picking up that item as it doesn't give us nearly as many crits as we want. We're almost there. And hopefully we actually have enough enemies for us to be able to get the little kill streak we're looking for. Cudgel's a very nice shield, but it does not scale with brutality, so we will not be picking it up. We have not yet unlocked the visuals for the rest of the force, so we know that there's still a few enemies left around for us to find. I think the little bit of extra DPS, at least until we have a lifesteal opportunity, we'll do that instead of the face flask. As much fun as I was having with it. Like you yesterday, just here to say hi. Have fun. Indeed. Always glad to see you, Aaron. It warms my heart to no end to know that people are showing up. Well, just to say hi. You always say don't forget me, and, well, I have the same opinion to you. It brings me a lot of joy that I am not forgotten. Then again, I am pretty unforgettable, aren't I? Elder Scroll main character background being a prisoner. I actually really like how they did that. They did it by happenstance in Morrowind. It was mostly how they managed to get the excuse of, hey, why are you showing up on this island out of nowhere? And the reception to Morrowind was so positive that they kept it going for all the future games. 470 DPS. Our balanced blade is a much better alternative unless we have... We do not have any bleeding buffs, but if we can get a weapon that has bonus damage versus bleeding, we'll be set, as both of our alternative skills have a bleeding damage ability on them. Oh, you know we have to do it now. Soldado Infinite. Infinito. Welcome. And a good night to you, too. Or unless you're talking to Error specifically. It's often difficult to tell if someone is speaking to myself or one of my other classroom members. Trying to divert my attention to multiple places at once, and it looks like we do not have enough enemies for us to finish our kill streak here. So, we'll take a bite of this little pie here. And we'll need the health from the kebab over here, which is quite the long trek. But given that we have cleared out the enemies here so far, we don't need to worry. Infinite Soldier. Indeed. I will still try to pronounce that correctly. Soldado Infinito. To the best of what my English-speaking brain can muster. I forget, is that Spanish or Portuguese? Soldado. Soldado. No, not. Soldado. Soldado. I keep autopiloting back into the L, but I'm not... There's no L there. There's no second L there. Soldado. Of course, a big issue with that might be the fact that I'm sick right now. Might be messing with my, pronunciation. But I will try my best to improve my pronunciation of that. Soldado. Okay, yeah, it's definitely the feeling sick that's messing with that. We will pump more cells into gold reserves here, and basically, after that, we're only worried about restock soon afterwards. Backpack maybe, but we do not have very many two-handed weapons. That's really what the backpack is for when we have two-handed weapons and want to have something in stock for us to trade out later. Big Shot is very weak. I've been sick for like 7 days. 6 days. I've been sick for 6 days. We're almost at our full week streak. Hopefully a bit more warm tea and soup should help with that. After we have gold reserves and... You know, we don't even need restock either. It's only gold reserves that we'll be needing for now. After that, we can focus on upgrading weapons specifically. There is a tactics pet that I think I'd like to give a little try. We'll be replacing the balance blade probably soon enough, so for now... Yeah, for now we're not going to upgrade any more of those items. Given that we have 2 pets, we don't need to focus on Instinct of the Master of the Arms anymore. Open Wounds gives us a little bit more DPS. No Mercy is always a wonderful pick. We are not concerned with that very small amount of health, so we will continue onwards. I'm gonna be trying to do that all stream. Soldado. Oh, that one worked. Soldado. Infinito. That sounds like Spanish. This is a colorless tonic, so it will scale with brutality. Accordingly, I think we can actually afford to pick this one up. Oh, what do you say? Before we move onward, should we go for a dual pet build here? Or do we want to go more Berserker? Oh, would you look at that? We got an achievement. You know what? This is quite the gimmick and the opportunity that doesn't come up enough, so we'll go for a dual pet build. Ah! He evolved! Just in time, we're going to need his help. I mean, mission accomplished. Who wouldn't want to drink tea? Tea is basically the second best thing you can drink. Behind water. Magnet grenade, very good item. Get him, boys! Okay, this was the right choice. It also lets me focus more specifically on my melee weapons and skills, as our pets essentially are a passive source of DPS. Too lazy to boil the water. Funny enough, I actually just put mine in the coffee brewer. And it works! Get him. We will take the Balance Blade 5. Not much better, but it is basically an upgrade to the existing weapon we have. Frontline Shield. When it comes to shields, they don't necessarily parry more damage from being better. It really just increases it increases the damage that they give when you parry. Parries actually damage the enemies. Is this a new save or you started the game a short time ago? This is a save I started on stream, so basically every single bit of progress I've done on stream is with a new save file. Offline, I have managed to make a full 5BC build and unlocked everything up to the patch where they added the weapons from all the other indie games. So I think I still need to go back and get all that progress done, but unlocked every item and, I hadn't yet unlocked all of the perfecting a boss outfits, but every other outfit and piece of equipment I did unlock offline, and I'm hoping eventually we can reach that mark here on stream, but that was after, what, 300 or 400 hours? Granted, I'd love to do 300 or 400 hours of streaming Dead Cells, but that literally equates to the amount of streaming I've done so far, altogether in 6 months. Coffee brew is essentially a water heater. Yeah, but it lets me be lazy. As you'd expect of a scientist, I look to make technology do as much of the work for me as I can. Era, hope I get better. Just take care and have fun. Now you really have to go. Maybe you'll come back later. See you soon. And the usual Undertale maniacal laughter. What do we have? Oh, hello there! Punishment is definitely better than the shield. Than the frontline shield. Now we are a DPS machine. Indeed, Kayla, you are in the right spot. We'll pick up that health. We're doing very, very well for not taking damage. Here in mobile, it's still on Fatal Falls. Wow. Yeah, the mobile version generally is about a year behind. Maybe I should install the mobile version, given how addicted to this game I usually am. Go ahead, get in a few slices there, and voila. You do the work for me. I see the dummy up there is giving you a bit of protection. Let's go ahead, and that is exactly what I was trying to avoid. I think that might be my most hated enemy in this game. The little trampler guys here. Such a huge problem. Although really in this case it was only the training dummies here, giving them the bit of protection that was actually the problem. And you make one mistake and start getting on tilt so soon. Get him. There we go. We have... what do we have? Potentially a more powerful leg hugger. He's not really going to be much better. Sure, he has a 15% damage buff, but we've already evolved our little friend here. Yeah, he's our little buddy. He's following us around. In fact, we're doing a double pet build right now. Also, I did see your message earlier, Broham, about someone who's wanting to pick up Strive, right? They mispronounced his name as Happy Chads again. Well, I'll be happy to train anyone who's wanting to pick up the game. We'll keep with the dual pet build. So, otherwise, I think we might try to just upgrade some things to right before they are unlocked, and then give them a try in our subsequent playthroughs. So what's one of my favorites here? I think everyone will have a moment to appreciate the katana, so let's put a few points in there. Oh yeah, I absolutely despise the, I despise the stompers, I think they're called. I can't remember what the birds are called. They're my least favorite enemy in the game. damage to a stun target, and freezes nearby enemies when they die. That one will probably be most synergistic with the rest of our build. Now, we're not really too concerned what we pick for other abilities. We don't need to worry about cooldowns with pets, so I think... We haven't unlocked Dead Inside either. Since we will be rolling a lot, I think Crow's Foot, even if it is a tactics mutation, might be one of our better options. Pick that up and we will restore our health. We'll need to make as much use of those health potions as we can since it's 2 BC. And we'll only get one every level, I believe. And then in 3 BC, we only get one flask charge every other level, I think it was. From 4 and beyond, the healing potion that you start with is the only one you're afforded. Although you do have a few chances to visit some shops and refill. Oh, that thing's going to be cranking out so much damage. Yeah, Crow's Speed is going to be wonderful for us, even if we're not doing a tactics build. Just the little bit of slowdown gives us enough CC to deal with a lot of the enemies that would otherwise be a problem. Especially with us using a balanced blade, it might let us get in an extra swing or two that we need to get a KO. We'll take that regardless. And that is why that freeze on KO effect is very important. Here we have a lot of the explosive enemies, and if we manage to get one of them cut down, we'll have a lot less trouble dealing with the other ones. Actually made you make tea. Ha ha ha! I've succeeded yet again. That's about as evil as my plans go. I just realized we have neglected to bring out the boys. The squad to be assisting us. Again, brutality until we find a scroll which only levels up tactics or survival. Put that thing away before someone gets hurt. The cooldown for Serenade, our little sword boy here, pauses while he is in our pockets, so we're gonna make sure to do that whenever we're exploring around between fights. Teach is actually a British double agent to spread the might of tea. When it comes to a lot of military strategy games, I actually do often pick Britain. That is the wrong key. I just wasted a flask. So that's what I get for switching to a fight pad. Funny enough, with the buttons spread out like this, it is a little bit less ergonomic, surprisingly. Sure, they place the buttons where they should be comfortable. Ah, good. Got the explosion and we don't have to worry about them. Britain's actually pretty bad though. One of my absolute favorite memes that I've seen pretty much arise out of the past year was people censoring the word British by replacing the T with an asterisk. It brings me no end to my laughter because I know how much everyone else in Europe hates Britain. The mere mention of them is akin to a swear word. Which I can understand. Americans catch a lot of flack as well. Oh, we are not falling down that little platform. We're early on in our run. I'm going to take the risk. For a little bit of a gimmick, I think let's go ahead and do that. Especially since we are in a close quarters biome. We can try to kick some enemies against a wall. It will also disrupt the motion of a lot of the enemies, and basically it's a lot better at interrupting someone than Balanced Blade would be. I don't think we're okay, we have another route like over here. I want to try to avoid walking into those spikes, as I might not have the best movement right now. Our sword boy is also on cooldown. Patient, we want to not run into any spikes, and this level is riddled. That weapon's actually quite acceptable. It's not good against bosses, though, so we're not going to be using it there. Heck, just, you know, just keep him locked there, okay, buddy? Okay. We almost died there. Almost. Halfway through dispelling our curse, we should be able to do this just with a little bit more time. And we're already at the end of this route, so let's go ahead. Fight our elite enemy here, since I think we'll be able to handle him just fine. Oh, right, I forget. They often come with hazards which provide a very, very big danger for us. This one provides us a little bit more health because it spreads around our stat box, but between those two amulets, we don't really have a better choice. Not interested in any of those items. So we will have to navigate through the spikes here. Wish me luck. Doing this with the new controller. Okay. Obviously I succumbed to pressure pretty easily, so that was a lot more dangerous than it should have been. And very, very stressful. One more, and there we go. Serenade took care of the problem for us. Given that we have a boss coming up next, I think the Balanced Blade would be much better. The Spartan Sandals are excellent for biomes, but not for bosses. Here you can knock around enemies all day, but you'll want the higher DPS of the Balanced Blade. In fact, the DPS of the Spartan Sandals are pretty negligible. Oh, this is gonna be fun. And immediately after our curse is dispelled, we lose our damage streak. We have an interesting predicament here, choosing between extra health or slightly better crow's feet. I think this one actually ups the duration in this one, which is what we'd be looking for. Pick that up. Should be almost done with this level. There we go. Explorer's Instinct, which means... yeah, we don't have any more scrolls we're... oh, wait! We do have another scroll we're looking for. So let's head over and pick that up real quick. We have a much bigger boon to our health there, given that it's 40% versus 23 as opposed to 32. So, we'll take that one instead. You see, the little explosive guy there was shivering. Was he anticipating a fight here? Oh, he was so ready to explode. I'll be taking that. And I'll be taking this too. Dodge roll. And now we have a gallery of a couple of other little items for us to pick up. The frontline shield is not going to scale any better than a punishment, so it's really only a late game shield that could have potentially been better. We're going to ignore those. We are going to take a look at the other Serenade here, which is significantly less powerful, so we will be selling that. Essentially, none of the other items here are of a benefit to us, so we will instead opt for gold and cells, as always. Only really if we had an important change overall to our build would we make the decision otherwise. We were so close to that 60 kill door. So close. Let's go ahead and upgrade these until the end. Valmont's Whip is actually one of my absolute favorites, so we'll get that one there. Oh! Well, obviously I have to focus on Lightning Bolt. And Killing Deck is a new item for me to be investing in later. The reason why we're bringing them up to just one before we unlock them is because whenever you do unlock an item, you get a free drop of it. Colorless, even. So on our next couple of runs, to showcase some of the different weapons, whenever we come to one of these checkpoints, we're going to put one cell in, pick up a new weapon, and test it out. Rather than unlock it and try to rummage around looking for a copy of it. Ahem. Oh, wow, that was loud. Yep, still sick. It's January. Pause that, I'm drinking tea. Pop out both of our little friends here. Always starts with the chain attack there. Sick of them. And now here's where our leg hugger comes in. Indeed, the T-Buff. Looks like our boys are doing a lot of work. Yo, hold on, are we gonna do this perfect? No parry for us there. One of them always runs off to the side and then does the sliding attack there. Get him. Get him, get him, get him. I think the crow's feet are actually the MVP here. Yo, let's go! Perfect timing, Proxy. We just perfected that boss. Looky here. We get ourselves a golden outfit for that victory. I think that's the first boss we've actually perfected on stream. And the most cursed of all weapons, the cursed sword. Which is very fun, of course, but it puts us into a lot of trouble. Nice to see you this evening, Proxy. Not participating in the DBFC tournament, are you? I wouldn't be either. Graveyard. Or Slumbering Sanctuary. We did Graveyard last stream, and Slumbering Sanctuary is actually my favorite level in the game, so let's go ahead and wander through here. We'll be trying to handle our biomes with a little bit of variety, as I don't think we have necessarily better routes anymore. I think they patched that out. I don't think you get... As much as I want to use a legendary infantry grenade, we are going to be focusing on our pet build as much as possible. Upgrade the next phase, and we'll be finding better weapons overall, slowly and over time. Look at it, it's beautiful. We'll pick that up eventually, but we're more concerned with the weapons. We have gotten a perfect on the concierge as well, which means next we might want to try for perfecting the tick. Predator actually is the next mutation I think I might want to go for. Let's focus on unlocking that, and then we'll change our mutations for a minute. How you doing, Proxy? I'm still needing to run some more sets with you. I've switched over to a mix box, so I'm needing some gold boost practice with a completely different control scheme. Both of our pet boys are here. I was really hoping we would have found a legendary main hand weapon, as that would have set us basically for the rest of the run. Crow's feet's still a very good idea for us. The items here are better than the weapons that we're currently carrying, but I don't really care for either of their functions too much more. Get him! Go, get him. So that's one of the biggest issues that can come up, is when you have an explosive enemy on either side of you. Those explosions are among the few attacks in the game you cannot dodge, so in a situation like that, you really just have to somehow parry both directions. I don't think we had enough time to get it there as we wanted to. Get our critical hit. We should definitely focus on using the punishment though, as we're going to have very, very huge damage with it. You cannot hit those guys with a parry though. If you parry, they basically are hard-coded to immediately step back. The fencing enemies, as you'd expect, an enemy mostly based around fencing is going to be good at parries or interacting with them. Cut him up. Get him. We will not be We have two pets. We're going for it. We can play very, very passively. And we get yet another punishment shield. This one, however, is gray, not legendary, so we are not going to pick that one up. It does have a slight overall damage boost, yes, but the punishment shield that we have is going to scale with our two strongest stats, and overall just generally be a better option. And cut them off while I don't have to deal with them. Thank you. Perfect parry. While we are cursed, we want to play as passively as possible. Lo and behold, it is dispelled. Ah, those parries are so satisfying. The ever so slight slowdown. So, you remember seeing all those statues we had on the way in? Looked very inconspicuous and non-offensive, right? Let's change that. We do not have an easy teleport out of here, so we're just gonna have to go back the way we came. Brutality as always. We'll just need to be getting out as much damage as we can. And now's where the level becomes a problem. Because now we have to deal with the golems. The biggest issue about the golems is that they will teleport you to them. So once you encounter one, you have to fight them. You can't just hit and run. They'll bring you back, and you really need to make sure you clear out every enemy around them first. Okay, I think I'm finally getting the hang of this with the mix box. You see how much ass we're kicking? Okay, that's not nearly as good as the balance blade that we have. We're not gonna do that. Check our map. We have 2 routes after the switch, and so we're going to take both of them. I believe they both have a scroll that you find guaranteed later on. There's always 2 instances of traps in this level, and one of them will lead to a treasure chest. Nutcracker only scales with survival, so we'll not be picking that up. So, we'll want to try to deal with everyone but the golem first, or if we can get the sneaky drop on him. And the bombs have fallen down and struck us on the way. Okay, I'm actually surprised. This build is doing a lot of damage. And so are the golems. We have gotten our 60 kills so far, and we don't really need to worry about the other kills that we get from this point onward. We are guaranteed a flask in the next checkpoint, so we'll go ahead and pop that one for now. Incredible damage on those crits. I wonder if getting a critical hit from a skill actually counts as one for Instincts of the Master of the Arms. We are going to want whatever other skill scroll might be in the other room, which I think there should be, right? So we'll be running over there. In fact, actually, you do have an incentive to go back through the entire level. Perfect. need to concentrate as much as possible on those goals. Heck, those are probably the most dangerous enemies in the game altogether. Perfect. Make sure we keep alternating our strikes as we always want to have our sword boy active. Bonus enemy. And we get hit by the red line. Darn. The way you're supposed to dodge that involves jumping up and then rolling down through it, since you have gravity, which makes it a bit easier to pass over. Right here is the drop, which I believe always has an item over to one of these sides. There we go. Oh, that's literally where you get the Masochist blueprint, which interacts with traps. In that case, there is a platform directly for you to fall on top of. I like the idea of that flask, but we do not yet have another item for DPS. Or lifesteal. Sword boy is back. Let's give him a warm welcome, everyone. That's an idea. So, the golems use the same sound effect for both of their tails whenever they're about to attack you. You might be able to dodge both options by jumping and parrying. One of their attacks is a long forward punch. The other one is an earthquake, which cannot be parried and needs to be jumped over. If you jump and then parry, you probably cover both options just fine. Forgotten Sepulchre or Clock Tower. Clock Tower's a lot more fun of a level, and they both end up leading to the same areas, but... shouldn't there be another door? There should be a route into... the cavern, right? Maybe that's only unlocked on higher BC levels. No, allegedly we should be able to get there from here. I'm glad you had such a wonderful breakfast. We're on very hard, right? So where the heck is that door? Is it this one? Might be that one. Okay, there we go. There's our zoom function. I think that might be the door we're looking for. No, this one just had enemies in it, right? Yeah. We should have conquered the cavern already, right? I think we've gone through there. If not, then we'll have to completely change our routing now. And we'll have to go through there again. Grandma cooking is always the best cooking. Food made by a very loving family member always hits just right. Now let's see what little weapon we have here. Nothing useful. So, only a little bit of gold it is. We will put every point into Predator. And now... let's... right. Set that to almost done. And let's look, what other things do we like here? A lot. What doesn't kill me will be very important for our parrying builds, as that gives us a little bit of health recovery. We will reset our mutations and now spec into Predator and Combo. This way we can speed through most of the levels with quite a bit of ease. And Crow's Feet was still doing... I think that's more important than the execution. Take that flask and on to one of the other favorite levels of mine. Hey, it's Saturday. Sleep in, Joy. You have my personal endorsement. As someone who usually is an insomniac, I try to sleep in as late as I can on weekends, which is what I'll be doing tomorrow. Okay, you're right. I was invisible. No wonder you didn't attack me. So now we should be able to breeze through most of these biomes pretty easily. We're going to have a damage buff and invisibility every time we score a KO. Or, you know, we'll get hit by an enemy from off-screen. Oh, thank goodness. I was hoping we'd have some sort of food. Alright. Posture check. Crack the back. Buff up all of our skills, and now we should be back to kicking some proper ass. What do we got here? Also, with the area of effect freeze, we can prioritize the weaker enemies to KO first, which should make killing crowds that have stronger enemies a lot easier. Pretty easy sweep there, and just a shot at the end, which we're not too concerned with. See what's behind door number 2. More enemies, of course. Really, we only need to hit an enemy once with the Serenade in our hands, and then we can let him just do whatever. With our Balance Blade causing a freeze aerial effect every time we KO, we can essentially just reset his timer, and then he'll actually be able to do exceptional damage on all the enemies that we KO and freeze. Since our Serenade boy does have bonus damage versus frozen and stunned targets. Oven axe. Parry. Perfect. This is a stronger boy, and let's see, do we have any bonus damage versus poison targets? We do not, so this serenade would actually be not any different because it's a plus instead of a plus plus. We'll keep with the sword boy we currently have. Back down through the central tower we go, as that room did not have any of the keys we were looking for. Swing once, and then let Serenade do his work. Crow's Feet was definitely the right choice as it slowed down the cannibal in me there. These guys are called cannibals for some reason, even though I don't think we have any premise for them eating people yet. One hit, and then get a crit. That over there is the second skill level. So the third, and I mean there's kind of 3.5 towers on this level. Even if this game does randomly generate its levels, they do tend to follow a pattern. Pick up this scroll, and same as always. We're focusing pretty much entirely on brutality. We would change into a dual stat build if we picked up a legendary weapon for our main weapon. But we're more interested in the utility of the parry than the damage, so we're not going to be focusing on a dual skill build. Just to upgrade the power of the punishment. We were doing so well. Face danger head on. I should just go for more parries. Although our pet's attacking might disrupt the timing a little bit, but the parry window in this game is very forgiving. Ooh, you see that one? So responsive in this game. That's why I'm usually playing survival builds, is because the parrying is so responsive and powerful. Put our sword boy away, we'll be making the first strike with him when they come across the enemy. And Siga. Well, you know how I said we were only going to be switching to a dual skill build if we picked up a main weapon? We have just found potentially one of the most powerful weapons in the game. That one will be worth respecting our build once again. And this time now, we are going to be focusing on 2 stats, given that we have 2 legendary weapons in our main and offhands. Those scale with your 2 strongest stats, and will have a slightly larger overall health pool if we focus on 2 stats instead of 1. Serenade is on cooldown once again because I forgot to stick him in my back pocket and make him shut up. Oh right, we're invisible every time we make a kill. There's probably not enough enemies left in the biome for us to be able to get the 60 kill bonus, so we'll just keep going. And I thought I could roll through the spikes, but I guess not. we did just get the key which unlocks the last route, which I think there it is. It's always at the end of an elevator. So, the legendary weapon we just picked up is a sadist's stiletto. Try to say that 5 times fast. What that does is it does bonus damage if an enemy is bleeding or poisoned. Serenade here actually has an effect where he automatically poisons an enemy he hits, which, well, is already amazing, but we're gonna try to see if we can get out a little bit of extra damage by respeccing the mutations we have on our build. Let's spec in some more of our ranged weapons. Give a tactics build a try here really soon. We don't care about the bonus damage while you're on max HP. Movement speed after killing an enemy definitely works. So what we can do here is just give bleeding every time you hit an enemy. Which means that from the second hit onward, we'll always be getting critical hits. Now that we're focusing on a DPS build, I think No Mercy might be better. Pop that flask. He's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Look what we got here, boys. Ooh, that's already 60% of her health down. Very nice. Parry. And done. So we have our build optimized for damage now that we have 2 legendary weapons. Ice crossbow. That's another very fun weapon to use, especially with kill rhythm, which is a mutation that can speed up your attack speed. Everything else there looks just fine. Put a few cells into our forge, and we will be off to the new DLC area. Give ourselves a little bit of a heal. Sephiroth looking dude. And onto the new... Huh. Yeah, that just immediately takes us to the end of the cutscene here. Ready to go? He says. Z, welcome. We're doing Dead Cells here, and you're just in time. We are now getting to the new DLC content. Posture check. Which, has a number of evil lurky boys, as you can see up here in the shipwreck. But luckily, we have one of our own, and he's a friend. Oh yeah, we're gonna be pumping out so much damage with this build. How you been, Z? Oh yeah, everything's gonna die on screen without even our involvement. We will focus on survival for our second step. Oh, he's invisible! That explains a lot. And no telling when his attack was coming. That one's just a slightly upgraded of the weapon we already have. Been sleeping all day, and I would be too. I'm still feeling a little sick. Invisibility might not be lasting long enough for us to be destroying all of the environment like this, since a number of the enemies seem to be spread out quite a bit. I think for the most part we can go ahead and let Serenade kill some people until we're needing a reset. We are being a little bit too hasty on making sure that we can swap back and forth, but we're not going to need to be doing that too much. There we go. We'll need one hit with the sword. And now, go hog wild. Ah, and swapping back and forth will actually nullify our invisibility. Noted. Dead cells seem to basically always fall back into the same sound font. You hear one Dead Cell song and you recognize them all. Look at our boys. Such powerful boys. That is a 50% health restore, so we'll hold off on that until we absolutely need it. Ah, and more health. And again, even more health. Okay, I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? I'm feeling the schmooves. Is that a new weapon or a mutation? Interesting idea, whatever it is. Please tell me we get to use a shark as a weapon. I want to use a shark as a weapon. A shark is a weapon. Maw of the Deep. That's the Freudian slip I had there. I was trying to say shark and maw simultaneously. We have a Blaze Blue tournament tomorrow, Z, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more labbing tonight. But then again, we've had so many of those lately that... I mean, it's basically just practice. I've tried hopping into a few other streams to get some practice in with them, but this one doesn't poison enemies, but we have an easy way to make enemies bleed, so this one will pair together with the extra bleeding damage that we do, and is overall a better choice of a different sword boy. Welcome back, person who I'm going to assume is the same sword. When do you plan on playing through Inscription? That was actually planned for yesterday. Not yesterday. Wednesday. But I immediately came back down with an illness. So, it is planned for next week, and I'm hoping it'll work then. I've been feeling slightly better over the past couple of days, so I'm probably going to be able to get back to a much denser streaming schedule. I've been holding off lately because I've been feeling under the weather. Texans don't deal very well with the cold. James, welcome. We are just getting into the new DLC content with Dead Cells. And I think that's the majority of, if not... we haven't yet cleared out the level yet. And everyone's frozen. Oh yeah. We're a DPS machine. How are you doing this evening, James? A little bit of money. And a door. Wonder what we got behind you. Treasure chest. It's probably... yeah, it's definitely not going to replace anything else we have in our build. I mean, 2 pets. How much better could you get? I do absolutely love the comical eyeball of the trailer character. They do have an alternate outfit for the Beheaded that lets you, have the color scheme of the one in the trailers. Of course they're gonna have bombardiers in the pirate ship level. I do believe in most cases the, head for the Beheaded is of a much smaller sprite set. In fact, I did think I see someone make a mod that, while it keeps the rest of the Beheaded's body the same, replaces the head with Zagarius, or whoever the protagonist is from Hades. There is probably a way to mod it to where the Beheaded basically always has that little fiery eyeball. Perfect timer reset, with only 1 second left on the clock. I actually hadn't looked at the new trailer yet. Didn't they just release it on the same day that they released the DLC itself? Because yesterday I just looked to hop directly into the game. And that seems to be it for this level, which means next is the lighthouse. Just a couple of stragglers here and there, but nothing really big for other enemies. And funny enough, all the health was in just one spot of the level. So, ho ho ho, wee wee. We will grab ourselves a little bit How are some of you good still alive? Right, we were getting in from the other side there, right? This would be a much easier route to get back to all that food. Remove this kebab. But we will take this one. And have a nice side of bread to go along with it. That leaves us with only one route left. To the lighthouse we go, and onto a very, very painful experience. Ah, that's some good tea. You know what's the best? Hold on. I'm sorry, what? The third attack throws the shark, rooting the enemy and causing it to bleed. Let's go ahead and invest some points in that one because we're definitely... I have to see this immediately. We'll be using that on our next respawn, but I think I have a new favorite weapon. They never run out of ideas, do they? I'm a Sonic. A shark? You're literally whacking people around with a shark. And great olive wars. That will be a very fun weapon to be using in the future. We are full on health and on flasks, so we will use that for a bit of extra money. At this point, I think we're only fighting bosses, so we don't need to worry about Predator. We'll take open wounds for the bleeding damage, of course. No mercy is always important. And... What's a cat doing, James? I mean, cats are always cute and precious and wonderful. I think the small damage buff from that might actually make or break a couple of fights, especially since we know we'll be taking damage. It'll also prevent us from taking too much damage from consecutive hits. It's morning, isn't it? Rock and roll. Or should I say, heaven or hell? And on to the first arena really soon. Here we go. Oh yeah, look at that damage. Okay, so we should focus on a lot more patient play with a lot more parries. James, you look like you'd know how to pronounce that. Alter? How do you pronounce this guy's name? Oh yeah, we're way ahead of them. Come on, get back down here somewhere where I can hit one of you. So it seems for the most part they alternate, right? We're gonna need that healing. So long as we get the crits. Got a real Ornstein and Smog situation here, don't we? I think we might want to pop another flask before we get too high up there. Just because we really need to make sure we win this one. Okay, yep, this one's definitely harder. Which means we're almost at the next arena since we have the 2 ropes. Oh! And we would have had a healing here anyway. Shame that we had to waste it, but we'll keep going. Get her. Oh, missed that parry. That's one down. Drink that, we'll need it. So much going on the screen, it's really hard to read when the attacks are coming out. Another down. Now we only have to deal with the zoner. Almost. And there we go. A new bow, huh? And you're not gonna let me have the health back. Okay. Well, a bit of knowledge for us for next time. I'll have to say I'm deeply upset by that, but very well. Crack those knuckles. Because here, we have ourselves the final boss. Alright. Our last chance to prepare before we proceed. The bit of damage buff and resistance might be better. Doesn't look like there's anything else that we have on here that would help us too much. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try for Crow's Foot because we're gonna leave a lot of them around, and slowing down the boss will make her a lot easier to read. Let's see what we have in store here at the top. Sorry about that. Professor's still, as you can see, a little sick. Wasn't it just morning? That looked a lot more like morning light than evening. But I suppose most of the other fights here take place at night once you get to the end, so... I'm not on my controller, so I cannot ominously slowly walk towards the fight itself. Oh! There she is. Look at her. Right up there on the side of the screen. I literally stopped at the exact pixel I needed. Here comes the interloper. After all the malaise he has done to the kingdom, you should realize that we cannot allow anything to leave the island. But I guess you're beyond reasoning now. I'm sorry, but I have to stop this folly right here. Right now. Know that I won't take any pleasure in killing you. Okay, so that is a shockwave. And, that's scary, whatever that is. That one I don't think is blockable. Or parryable. Really, is that the first time we're getting an electric guitar in the Dead Cells soundtrack? Okay, so that creates a trap for us to avoid. Got it. Which we'll have to use for next time, now that we have perished an hour and a half into the stream. But, up to that point, it was a very good run, and we almost got the win. In fact, I think if we had one more flask and knew that we'd actually have a 50% health restore during the fight beforehand, I think we could have gotten that one there. Seems we have actually been punished for trying to play cautiously. Oh well, back at the bottom, we'll take it from the top. Actually, intermittently, There are a few items we unlock from doing the daily runs, which I should probably do one of these at the start of every Dead Cell stream. So let's do a little one of these real quick. So, you've come in search of a little challenge. Here, only the best of the best. The creme de la creme, or should I say, the elite of the elite, can manage to rack up a respectable score. Do you think you're up to it? In that case, head down and defeat this level's boss as fast as you can while scoring as many points as you can manage. You'll find some equipment to help you along the way, but some objects may be forbidden. The collector might have something to do with that, who can say? And don't forget, the shortest path isn't always the best. So for the timed challenges here... Creme de la creme. Yeah. I could go for a creme de la creme brulee right now. So the timed challenges here give you a little dungeon to run through, and they'll give you a few pieces of equipment, a number of which you won't even have unlocked. Okay, I'm not fighting this guy with the defensive barrier. Absolutely not. I also picked one of the worst weapons, but I think we can have fun with it. Or, you know, just perish. Luckily, we're allowed an unlimited number of tries here, and I wanted to give the lantern a test, but it's one of the most idiosyncratic weapons that we have out here. In fact, it's one that has half of it being a melee weapon, and it takes up 2 slots, so it's a little difficult to deal with. I think going a little ora might be better for us. And heck, it does more damage anyway. The scrolls you find in this level upgrade every stat at once, and in that case, you don't really have to think about a build. This is mostly just to test your ability to fight most of the enemies in the game. Speedrunning through a little level like this. Hemorrhage is a very fun weapon and one of my favorites even. Unfortunately, it's an unlock you can only get towards the end of the game. It also has an incredibly high reach amount, so it can flinch just about any enemy in the game. One of the most powerful bossing weapons overall. In fact, you can stun lock most enemies altogether with it. Sure, why not? See what weapon you got for me. I'll take it. Wow, we really went the completely wrong direction. We'll try to see where we can go to get to the boss from here. With all the scrolls we picked up, it's probably going to be a cakewalk to defeat most of the enemies from this point. That one I like better. Oh, and we're still cursed. We'll have to get through this. We absolutely have to. Okay, so try the same and just avoid the cursed chests. I think from here on out we might just try to avoid them in general, unless it's in the couple of earliest levels. There We'll skip the hemorrhage. We'll just go ahead and try to speedrun to the very end of this little daily challenge before anything else. Interesting little air dash there. That is actually a weapon we steal from the time boss, I believe. The clock tower boss. Just speed run to the end. The boss we face at the end is one we're very familiar with and not much of an issue at all. Up the other scroll here, and doesn't look like we'll be getting to the end. Not from this path. Usually the boss is at the longest path that you have from the start, so we'll just go to whatever spots we see on the map that seem to be furthest away from us. We also usually have a difficulty level analogous to 0 BC whenever we're going through the daily challenges like this, so it shouldn't be much of an issue at all. Boss is in this direction. The little indicators we have on the wall here will show us where the concierge is hiding. We're not concerned with the score so much as just actually beating the level, because after you get a couple of wins done... that's an achievement. After you get a couple of wins done, you unlock a couple of new items. 2 minutes on the clock to beat the boss should be just fine. In fact, if we did have the hemorrhage, we probably could have stun locked him. There we go. We want those sickles to not touch us, but instead swing around for as long as possible. And there we go. First run complete, and we get the... So that's how we get the Swift Sword. From the very first win, which is actually one of the better weapons in the game. So, let's go ahead and see if we can get that one. Get that one unlocked basically as soon as possible. The Russian bots resume. Let's put you in time out, you little fiend. Alright. Before we resume our regular run, I think on the Dead Cell streams I might have enough time for, on average, basically 2 runs. I'm going to go ahead and take the first break of the night, since we are almost 2 hours in. So, grant me a moment. Everyone take 5, go ahead, bathroom break, get a drink, whatever you need. Take a breather, of course. La-di-da-di-da, and we resume. Thank you all for your patience, class. Grab my beloved and very heavy brick with a few buttons inside of it. And let us resume. Requires Rise of the Giant DLC. Ah, so we haven't done that DLC whatsoever. Hold on. I'll just need to remember to do that before the next stream then. That one's actually free DLC, and funny enough, free DLC doesn't get transferred in the Steam share. That would explain why we hadn't even seen the passageway to the cavern. So, maybe we can go ahead and do that next. So now we'll be using the loot, which is my favorite weapon in the game. Simply because of the huge damage output and range that it has. You know how much I love the huge damage. I'm a computer scientist. You should know how much I love big numbers. Wolf Trap is incredible. We will not be using Serenade very much because that is ultimately the most replaceable of our items. Focus on survival. Clear out an entire room with just 3 swings. Mushroom Boy is indeed a liability, but for now, it'll be fun to have along. And on a build like this, we might be focusing a bit less on the parries, and so we can definitely afford to have him disrupting a few attacks. That heads off to the Arboretum. Ah, right here is a scroll. We'll need that. The freeze enemies when they die, I think, is actually a more important effect than the area of effect damage. As well, it will buff up the power of our loot, though essentially that comes with its own AoE damage buff, given the sheer range this thing has. That's it for the important things around here. We haven't been to Promenade in a while, and I'd like to make a stop by the ossuary since we do not have the Rise of the Giant DLC unlocked yet. I will do that after the stream is over. Promenade, which should be at the end of the route here since it's always by the corpse of the knight that we start talking to, beginning of the game. Gilded Yumi fires large arrows that push enemies, stuns and inflicts critical damage if it bumps its target into a wall or another enemy. While we have a very good build setup, I think we want to focus on the weapons that we have equipped. For the most part, we can actually swap out for a different shield. The spike shield is a very, very powerful weapon. from here... What's our ice setup? Not much, so... We'll just pick... We'll go ahead and pick Blind Faith, and eventually swap out our Mushroom Boy for a better alternative weapon. Come on. There we go. The final hit of the Rhythm and Bazooka can be extended indefinitely. So that one... Well... If you can keep timing it correctly, you can just hit enemies as they get closer. I like the shield that we have on Serenade there, but I'm going to decline to use that. We cannot interact with those roses until 3 BC, or at least we don't get quite the benefit we'd be looking for with it. This game has had such a phenomenal success. They keep actually updating it for free. It's been basically a Motion Twin, the company responsible, is actually a game dev co-op. They're not quite a company. And this is the first game that they basically had, which had this level of success. In fact, they had enough to create a second company that was basically for anyone who just wanted to keep working on Dead Cells instead. That's why they created Evil Empire. Parry. And 1-2. That'll be good enough. Roll through that, head down the platform here. And continue specking in survival for basically the entire time. I can't... For now, this actually might be a better alternative. We'll focus on the Rhythm and Bazooki once we have a generally overall better way to get into it. The Rampart is one shield we'll definitely want to have alongside of it, and I don't know if we have that one unlocked yet. I certainly haven't seen it so far. And with the stun setups you get from basically every shield, we're gonna have so much damage with it. Also, the wolf traps mean we can root enemies and guarantee critical hits with our weapon here. I think the Nutcracker is actually the first survival weapon you ever have unlocked. Basically as a demonstration of what to expect from other survival weapons in the future. that damage. Yeah, this is definitely a better alternative to the rhythm and bazooka. Look at that parry. Absolute perfection. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say we're not gonna take any more damage for this level. So I'm gonna go ahead and recycle that food item immediately rather than come back to do that later. Frost Blast is actually an incredible combination with the hammer, but the defensive utility of the shield is a much better alternative. We're going to continue focusing on this build as it is. We will be swapping out the Mushroom Boy when we have a chance. And we at least got our 60 kills, so doesn't even matter if we take damage at this point anymore. We are not focusing on Morris of the Banished since we already got the loot. Eventually, when we're cleaning up the equipment we need to gather from various corners of the globe that we have not yet traversed in a long time, we'll be heading back to that level, but that's one of my least favorite levels in the game. Broadsword is a lot harder to set up critical hits for. In this case, we only need to basically parry every enemy we come across. 2 for 1. Perfect. Come here. One, two. Right, I knew there was someone still up here. Now, if you can ever get a Nutcracker with a bonus damage versus the types of enemies that it already scores critical hits on, you'll just be pumping out excruciating amounts of damage. It's also a survival weapon that actually has a very good vertical hitbox, which is pretty unusual as survival weapons come. We were inside of another enemy as we did that parry, and so we ended up parrying essentially in the wrong direction to catch that hitbox. That's one of the instances where dodge rolling would have been the better alternative, but unfortunately it's a bit too late now. Try again. We have no use of that key right now, so we're not going to do anything with it. Ooh, someone got caught. One, two. Easy enough. We actually might invest in the heal whenever you parry successfully. The combination damage buff and stun that we get for our shield basically means that a parry will greatly increase the damage of our hammer. You'll see how it basically one-shots every enemy that we parried immediately before. No other interesting things for us to find. There was still that one health pack all the way back there. And just for a little bit of extra money, we will take our cruise up here. And there it is. Now, I can't remember. Can we actually get... No, I don't think we can get into the ossuary from the prison depths. Unless that's just the usual route. Let's take a look-see real quick. I'm going to do a bit of research and look that one up. Ossuary, tell me your secrets. Take a drink. Ah, we can get there from the prison depths. Alright. In fact, I think that is the normal route you're allowed to get in there. So we will do the alternative biome here to one of our early game runs. Still not feeling very well. I like that font. The font I have up here on the top of the screen. It's the one I've been using in basically everything. Not sure if you've noticed. I don't think we have any benefit to taking damage, though. The ice grenade basically scores us guaranteed critical hits, so we will use that one instead. And now I think we can actually reroute our build into Heart of Ice, plus a bit of offensive damage tricks. We can also definitely focus on some skills, not just the... the cocoon's one of my favorites. Powerful grenade is good. Let's just start unlocking a lot of things left and right. We will not be taking these right now, though, as we're trying to set up for a Heart of Ice build. Extra damage to a stunned target, there we go. That's exactly what we would have wanted. Heart of Ice... and what doesn't kill me? As that one doesn't have a limit to the amount of health that it can heal. Since this is still early in the run, we will be taking a look inside this cursed chest. Absolutely useless weapon. Now we'll have to play very, very cautiously, mostly using our ice grenade to make sure that we can pause an enemy in place. We will lay a trap for this guy. In there. Perfect. Should only need to fight one more enemy. And done. With our traps here, and just generally our very good crowd control, we're not gonna have to worry about the long windup of our survival weapons. Essentially, with that bonus damage to stun targets, there's very few things that can resist being parried and then just outright dying. Like so. You see the thousands of damage we're doing on average to these enemies. Parrying an enemy stuns them, so we basically have a guaranteed setup onto any enemy that can be parried. Does that ice grenade have... which one is it? Okay, it's the frontline shield that gives the freezes enemies nearby when they die. Okay, okay. And with the chain freezes like that, we can destroy large swaths of enemies at once. Using ice on an enemy in water will actually root them, interestingly enough. Prevents them from moving. Perfect. Hey, buddy. And a 1, too. Oh! 2 legendary weapons at once right here. Is it time to change priorities once more? We're scoring them surprisingly frequently, I'm noticing. Twin daggers aren't very... Twin daggers aren't very good, but... I think we might want to try to reroute to that electric whip. 640 DPS versus Nutcracker. I'm trying to think about this one. Well, we know legendary weapons have incredibly powerful late game scaling, so... just to give it a try, let's go ahead and do it. We'll have to completely redo our entire build again. But this thing has very long late game potential. Long-term late game potential. As well, lets me just passively mash buttons and damage enemies regardless. You see, it's also very good against crowds of enemies like this. Now... we might be able to focus a bit less on a CC build. Attacking a frozen, stunned, or rooted enemy at close range reduces skill cooldowns by a few seconds. What I think is a very interesting idea here, if we use the tonic to swap out with the ice grenade, we can go ahead and set up traps with the wolf trap here, which will let us... oh, hello there. Which together will let us make the cooldown on the tonic much shorter. Poison having no effect is just overall a generally better thing. Let's go ahead and... I think focusing on survival overall is still our best option. Eventually, we'll go ahead and probably swap back to another survival weapon. But I do want to give the electric whip a try, just for a little bit of time. Well, thank you for having a projectile off screen that I can't see. I don't think you can roll through them either. Have that bit of extra health to take the damage for us instead, so we don't have to worry about stepping in the spikes like we just did there. That is everything in the level taken care of, but we will stop back there for that kebab real quick and continue onward. then the ossuary should be the next level that we end up in. There we go. What we are looking for here is the extended healing mutation, which is a very, very difficult find. But it is always available in here. Extra damage when you're at max HP. Let's try re-rolling for... I think that's okay. Our other re-rolls are going to be way too expensive for that to be useful. Very good effect to roll there, and very good effect in both cases. I wonder if support counts with... It probably does count with the wolf traps. Interesting idea. For now, until we respec, I think we can go ahead and just use... Tranquility for a little bit of an extra damage buff. For now, we can go ahead and take the extra health from that flask since we'll be using tonic for most of our tanking. The electric whip is also very good for this area because now we don't have to worry about the spiny enemies so much. It's only really at max range that we can actually trigger Tranquility with this weapon. Doesn't have very much range at all, does it? We had point blank, that would be much better. What I'd like to try to find is a swift sword, and use that in conjunction with the tonic. That will actually let you keep up a speed buff, which you can manually trigger and get started on basically doing boss level damage with the swift sword no matter what. Now, taking a moment to look up our little list, let's see. Extended healing, where do we find it in this level? I don't think it's indicated by anything particular. It's just in a little hidden alcove in some place, on some point of the level. Ah, it doesn't say on the mutation itself where it's located, so I'll have to go to the guide to the level, right? Okay, it's just labeled as a secret area, so we're gonna spend a lot of time here looking for a little passageway. I do believe it's one of the ones hidden in leaves that you can find on some random side of the level. Which might be a little bit difficult to distinguish, as the background elements tend to have a couple of other little bones and such packed into the walls. You know, we've parried that before. I wonder if it's possible. We can also focus on trying to parry these enemies to get back the little bit of health we do have missing. Nothing in there is particularly important. A Crusher build with Frostbite would have been amazing. Open up this door, let's see what's inside. Bright and shiny fresh chest, thank you. But since that is a brutality weapon, we're not going to be focusing on it. So Heart of Ice does count if we have something wolf trapped right in front of us. Which can almost let us recycle the same traps over and over again, nearly indefinitely. When we have enough survival points, we might even be able to just do that before the cooldown is finished, depending on how long the enemies remain trapped for. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. Hi, Kayla. Good evening to you. There, now that he can't turn around, we don't have to worry about it. Let's see, what should we do here? Judging by our usual rules, let's pick tactics, since we don't have to worry too much about the legendary weapon, because we're probably not sticking with the electric whip forever. In fact, looking back, the twin daggers might have even been a better idea. We might want to progress through the level a bit more slowly because we need to keep an eye on the walls and ceilings. I think the extended healing perk is actually in the ceiling of one of the areas. Keep an eye out for any leaves that might be on the walls. Nothing up in here. They're usually not in the elevator shafts either. I don't think they can generate here. The interesting thing about Dead Cell's level generation is it's based around combining a bunch of set pieces rather than explicitly just randomly generating the entire layout. Personnel, kid. You idiot. He's fallen right for a trap. Twice. First he gets grabs on the way in, and then again when he's trying to make his maneuver. Yeah, we can definitely revamp all the mutations here. Although I think we'll wait to do that until... I think we still have plenty more level to cover. Let's go ahead and pop open this cursed chest. We do have a ranged weapon and enough CC that we should be able to avoid damage. No. Warpan is good, but we have better alternatives. What's in here? I think one of these had... No. This wasn't the room that let us actually grab weapons. I want to use that Morning Star. That Morning Star looks very, very fun. Hopefully that's a weapon that we eventually get to use. But it needs to have its own unique function, so... Gotcha. And got you too. Pop this up here. Now that we have this guy trapped, only need 2 more KOs. Looks like we found our guys. Curse lifted. Now where are we looking? I think we'll want to check generally every room and every hallway after we're done, just to make sure we can score that perk, as it's one of my favorites and basically the reason why I've won the game a couple of times. It's powerful even on non-survival builds. Give him a good couple of smacks then. Look at this. Anything up there? No, looks like that would have just been a tunnel. Same with over here. Or it would have been where another route would have generated. Almost. Parry. Sadly, we can't parry those guys. We might want to try to focus on parrying every enemy that comes up, just to get ourselves a little bit of health back that we need. How was your day, Kayla? It's Friday night, isn't it? So it should be a wonderful time for everyone. There we go. Fishing out that parry so that we can get the bit of health restoration off of it. And there we've lost all of our hard work. Hey there. And now we have basically most of our health back from that. So, now that we've reached what seems to be the end, we'll need to backtrack basically through the entire level and make sure we can find wherever that little secret is. We still have another area down here that has one more scroll hiding from us. And not enough damage in time. maybe the electric whip wasn't a very good idea. Oh, hello there. We found another one. So we might have ourselves actually a very promising route and run. Although we will be swapping out that electric whip probably pretty soon now, since it's not really doing very much for us. And proceed. Well, we dodged a bullet there. Okay, why did you mantle? I was rolling. That's probably one of the complaints I have about this game, is I wish that you could choose when to mantle up on ledges, because in a lot of cases, it happens when you're not wanting it to. Why not just design your levels around jumping over the platforms that you need to get over anyway? We almost got through there flawlessly. Almost. Ooh, that was a nice little freeze. And that actually prevented the slasher from hitting back at us. Alright, I think the perk we're looking for usually spawns in one of the longer hallways. So let's go ahead and take a look over here. Keep an eye out for any leaves that would... There we go. And there it is. You see, this one was pretty hard to miss. On our way down here, it was at the bottom of the screen, even obscured by our health bar. And we don't even have an indicator of leaves up close here, but a lot further along there in the corner. So it was very easy to miss, especially while we were moving. Going in this direction, yeah, we wouldn't have even seen that at all. But there we go. That is one of the best perks in the game, in my humble opinion. Get our bit of health back, and now we want to think about what sort of alternative build we're going to be doing. Next up is the concierge boss, who's not going to be very difficult at all. We will immediately put in all of our cells there, as we want to get that one available as soon as possible. In fact, in general, investing in every mutation is probably a better alternative for us. You know what? Let's go ahead and see what this weapon does, since we'll be able to have it colorless. So if you do it 4 hits in succession, it will be critical hits on the way back in. And since we're firing multiple cards, we'll have multiple instances of that high damage. Something to think about. Spiked shield, very good. We'll set up for that one specifically. And then... Kill rhythm is one I use very frequently with the with the multi-slot weapons that can come along with it. Upgrade that, upgrade this, and we should be good to go. No Mercy is good. I think going back to Necromancy would also be very good. And just in the future, why not get ourselves set up with Extended Healing? Because now... yeah. Pop this now. Grab this. And try to move on to the next level as quickly as possible. We have a damage buff while we're healing from the Extended Healing perk. What Extended Healing does is it makes your flask restore 85% of your HP instead of 65. That's an interesting little weapon. But while you're restoring health from its slower extended healing over time, pop out our trap here. While you're restoring health over time, it actually gives you a lot of extra damage. That's the only part that scales with whatever your stat is. And there we go. Concierge perfected, so we will have another legendary weapon showing up very soon. I don't recognize this. What's this? Oh, melee. Okay. So that one slows down enemies that we hit right in front of us. If we combine that with a good frostbite build, we can do a very scary amount of damage. It's too late to turn this into a different type of build, and all that's used for is... I mean, we don't have any lifesteal weapon alternatives right now, so... Legendary Flask isn't going to help us very much at all. Nothing much else there. I think we can keep the deck of cards. It'll be just fine for us. Slumbering Sanctuary, no. We go to the graveyard if we had a route to be going through there. Hold up. Okay, there's leaves there, which usually indicates a secret area, but I guess not. Let's go ahead and see if we can take a cruise through the Fatal Falls. Since this is one of the more difficult areas in the game, we'll have to be a lot more patient. But we do have a very good ranged weapon to be using. Of course. Falling off a cliff doesn't kill you in this game, though. That's something that a lot of games seem to have done away with. Also, the birds don't seem to be moving very much, which might be something a little different happening here. That would be an interesting character to have in a game. Someone who throws cards as a weapon in, say, a fighting game or such. There is one character in Arcana Heart who actually does have a sort of deck mechanic. She's a street magician. Arcana Heart is an incredible game and I wish people played it. I will definitely be playing that on this channel if we ever have a reputation for playing obscure fighting games. We will not be taking the risk in one of the most difficult levels in the game. Not here. Spiked Shield is going to do incredible amounts of damage to all enemies that we come across. Parry. There. Back on track. See what's inside the shop here. Ice Shield is good, but our Spiked Shield probably will just do a lot more damage. And we're not currently looking for free setups very much. One thing to note about this level is that we do have these two gates, and one of them will always have a legendary item available. Very good selection. In fact, that would have actually been a perfect setup alongside our Nutcracker from earlier. With the Wolf Trap here, we can actually set up 4 of them simultaneously, since a Wolf Trap, or since a legendary item can be used alongside regular items, but in this case, I think I'm gonna go for the Cudgel. Or maybe I won't. We're not using the tonic very much. Instead, I think now we can develop a strategy of just popping out a bunch of traps. The Spike Shield also can basically one-shot most enemies, so it's a very powerful choice. Beautiful. Yeah, I think with the fact that we can alternate the traps now, we can basically immobilize a lot of enemies and fight them at a range that's much more comfortable for us. We will not be using the Crusher. If we can find another hammer, then easy. There's a bird up there, and we got him with the cards. We will not be doing a dual stat build here because it's not one of our main weapons that's being buffed legendarily. If we had 2 legendary skills, probably. Welcome back, Z. Sorry about hearing that your phone died. Happens to me very frequently at the end of a workday. Harry. I don't think there's a reason for us to be down on that side of the little room here. Also, for some reason, we have floating trees in this level. Okay, that's taken care of. Ah, we have to go through that part now, don't we? Unless we have an extra jump. Our amulet does not give us an extra jump here. So, we're around and... Ah, we have to be on the underside here. Got it. Now, the spiked shield is great, but it does not actually help you against ranged enemies. It's only good against melee enemies. Hey there. Now, this is a cool weapon. I don't normally play tactics builds, but you see it's a survival build right now. I think I might try to use this weapon a lot in the future. Very cool and interesting setups that it has. Not interested in any of those options there. Back to the entrance. Looks like this is the end of the route in this direction. Just a shop. I do believe the bottom route here also just has a few bonus items and does not come with the exit, darn it. Again, being destroyed by projectiles off screen. He had such a good streak too. Take a look in here, let's see. Tactics will give us better health. And some ho, hello there. I had this discussion a couple of streams ago, Z. I don't know if you were a part of it, but are you interested in picking up King of Fighters 15? Got it. Perfect parries. Maybe one of these days I should exclusively try a shield-only build, with, say, a spiked shield and then a parry shield that reflects multiple projectiles. One for melee enemies and one for enemies at a distance. Either that or maybe a spiked shield and then a rampart, which is probably the best defensive shield in the game. Hey there. Sorry to pop in unannounced. We need to get a weapon that can backstab. That would be incredible alongside this build, since we can lock all of our enemies into facing away from us. Haha, got you just the way. And now we don't have to worry about it. Oh, those floors crumble. Got it. Parry. Roll. I'm not really scared of this level anymore. We've definitely gotten a lot better at dealing with it. That's most level explored, isn't it? There's another treasure room over there. That's the one I was looking for. Got him. Got him with the trap. Which, I think there's an achievement for that, but I don't know if it requires a KO or just a hit. Trap got it in the way, and we're still having a bit of trouble with all the enemies here. That is the worst place to put that swinging axe, or the best depending on your perspective. Very hard to dodge that one. It gets intense. I keep missing a lot of my dodges when that happens. Fine. I'll just give you a little trap. and end up hitting him in the back where he's not going to be a problem. Perfect. So now we head in here, take a look at whatever little bits of treasure we can get. This looks like the route leading up to Serenade, which I thought we would have already gotten. I was hoping her people could help me, but they don't recognize me anymore. The Apostate's hideout isn't far, but I don't know what kind of welcome they reserve for strangers in need of help these days. Looks like the alchemist was having a bit of fun with defying some of the laws of nature. That's it for any of the interesting sights to see while we're here, but we will take one last stop by the shop, and we will pick up ourselves a little bit of healing. Croissant and eyeball, my favorite breakfast. Delicious. Is that what Shrek meant when he said it's quite good on toast? Eye jelly, huh? We should have this route open. Correct. On to the Undying Shores we go, and the Scarecrow boss just beyond. So we're gonna have quite a bit of trouble in here unless we can scrounge up ourselves a better weapon than these cards, which, while they are doing a lot of damage, you know what, now would be a very good time to pull out something else. Let's grab the weed stick. Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a lot more damage over time than the cards would be. That's only a 5, so... okay, now it's a 5++. Let's do another roll. This one works in conjunction with a lot of our fire damage, but let's try again. That's a little better than what we started with. We actually do not need that health, so we are going to sell that. Looking back, we probably could have used a flask and then saved some money instead of buying our health from the store. Use our extra flask charge, but I'm sitting here in my 5 BC mentality. We are no longer one-shotting them with that weapon. Yep, we're in an anime now since we have a katana. Hey, Krumel, how you doing? Have you had a chance to look at the new DLC yet? We're trying to find our way back up there. We should probably focus a lot more on our parries. Oh, hello there. Since we have the spike shield, we're just going to do a huge amount of damage to anyone who tries to hit us with the melee attack. So for a lot of those large crowds of melee enemies, say with the slashers being the biggest problem, we can just go ahead and try to focus on carrying them rather than getting the attacks. We are currently, if I lean my head over to the side here, we are currently at 2 BC as I've started a new save file for streaming. In the future I might bring over my 5 BC save file, but I did want to start the streaming experience to show off Dead Cells to a couple of folks that are not yet familiar with the series. So we've been following the story and all the events from the beginning. I got her down to about 25% HP on her last run, but it was very difficult to see her telegraph attacks, as the last time we got up there we had a double pet build, which definitely made it difficult to read what was going on. This here would be the second time that we get to the Queen, and I think this one looks very promising. You're not gonna get up, are you? Really? I haven't seen that happen. I died pretty easily there. I mean, I haven't actually gotten to finishing that part of the fight yet. I've only been playing this game on stream for the past couple of days. I probably could have gotten there on my offline save. Although, yesterday actually on stream, my normal gamepad died, so right now I'm having to use my fight stick. Which I might just switch to instead, since it's ergonomic for a lot more cases. There's another little room over here. Let's take a look. I'm glad people are actually showing up to these streams since the DLC came out, because I've streamed this game a number of times before, and sadly, for this being my absolute favorite game, we didn't get enough people watching. Last couple of days streaming this game have been absolutely wonderful. Playing 0BC to farm the new blueprints. I've been thinking about doing that myself, as well as fighting the boss with a much easier difficulty curve. Maybe she only does that on lower BCs, because she didn't do that to me when I got up there. That was just earlier today on 2BC. Here. Hold on, I want that. Bring that back here. Scrumptious. Open this up. Well, we'll have a hypothesis to test when I definitely get up there. I've found the shark, and of course the obligatory shrimp. The little alien reference. He was part of the dual pet build we were playing earlier. Pick this up. Brutality for the extra HP. Really, I missed that one. Shark is fun, but it's kind of slow. I am actually a survival player most of the time, so I'm accustomed to the slow attacks. I usually play them in tandem with Rampart Shield is probably what I usually try to for. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Get off me. Well, it's nice to hear that there's a fellow intellectual in the class today. I don't need to teach you anything now, do I? You already know how to play the game properly. Pairing is so fun, I just can't play without it. I can't play without having the extra defensive measures. We are also not picking up cursed chests, as those have ended literally half of our runs. Yeah, tactic is easier according to a lot of the fan base, but I never really had that figured out. Maybe it's because I'm just too accustomed to try to run up and parry everything. I also usually forget about the skills I have in reserve. I'm usually focusing on the main two weapons I'm carrying, so I'll forget that I have a couple extra traps. But then again, that might be because a lot of tactics skills are just Fire and forget. Send out a trap and then you don't have to worry about when you time it. Hey there. What the heck was going on there? Alright, we'll ignore that one. Ooh, that was a nice parry. I wonder what that guy latched his head onto. Couldn't quite see it. No revives for you. I think that's basically all the rest of the level up to here taken care of. Right. Oh, right, we have to actually hit the leave button and not just explicitly walk off stream, since that's not allowed for some reason. Take a look-see at our... Ah, we got the lightning rods. That's an interesting idea. I don't think we want to try any weapons other than what we currently have versus the boss here. So instead, we're picking up a lot of points here. I think I might actually want to try a parry build since we have the spike shield. The last one you kill will be the blueprint you want to get. You're talking about the bow, right? Oh, we can get the weapon from any of them, but the blueprint you get is the one that you kill last. I kind of want to see what's with the maces that Calliope has. Alright, let's give that a try. We should be able to get up there really, really soon. Now that is what I want to see. Burning oil and burning oil bonus damage there. I think we can keep with all the other effects we have. I'm gonna go ahead and... First things first, pop that open. We're not gonna reach the boss before that timer finishes. So we won't get to use the damage buff there. That doesn't cut out the timer. Okay, yeah. We still have their restoring health. We're good. Take a drink before we step in. Gonna need that tea buff. Oh, that's what the effect we're looking for. Haha, got it. Bounce off that. Ah, we were doing so well. I think we might want to just focus on pairing that sequence, really, more than anything else. Oh, he's getting desperate. Oh, well, I guess we didn't need to pop the healing there then. Defeat the scarecrow without bouncing on any mushrooms. I guess it's referring to these, because we definitely bounced on the mushrooms in the middle a lot. That's why extended healing is important, because with that one flask, we're back to full health so soon. Recycle that. Only thing you want to know is what happens if you beat the game with 5 BC and go against the Queen. Does it count as a win or not? What I want to see is if that, does anything with... Does it prevent you or give you an opportunity to route into the bonus boss? Or does it end right there? First time we finished the Scarecrow fight on stream. Wonderful. Melee is very important. Let's go ahead and put points into that. And onto the DLC we go once more. Skip that entire sequence. What a lovely lad. I like him. In the sea, no one can hear you scream. On quite the contrary, water is not going to prevent you from screaming. Well, for very long. You won't be able to scream for very long, but it does not actually prevent sound from carrying through. Oh, hey! That actually changes where they route to. Noted. Funny how this sets up as an alternative final level, but it's not very difficult. In fact, in my opinion, it feels like it's a little easier than some of the other ones. Okay, missed that parry, because he's behaving weird for some reason. He said, this level's not very hard, and then immediately lost half his HP. Can you ask me a question? Always, of course. I'm a professor. It's my job to get asked questions. We are not picking that up. Are you a voice actor? I am not yet, but I am voice acting on stream, which I'd like to try to get into that at some point casually, not necessarily as a main hobby, but I have had a lot of theater experience in the past, and it is, I mean, the whole art of a performance itself is one of the things that intrigues me. One of the reasons I picked up the streaming thing. VTubing came along at just the perfect time. As, for one, I am very shy and paranoid and don't really care about actually getting famous so much as just being able to get myself into a proper job. Voice fits this character very well. I will mark that as not towards the ever-growing list of compliments. A lot of people I've said, or a lot of people that have been on the stream have said they love the voice very much, but I'm trying not to let it all get to my head. Like you're watching the stream of a Genshin Impact character. Tell me, does this look like a Genshin Impact character to you? That's a much more modern clothing design. Doesn't look very fantastical, looks a lot more sci-fi, I'd say. It was a compliment, but one of the things I'm trying to gauge is, what specific kinds of compliments I've heard. I don't know if I've heard, your voice fits the character well, so much as I've heard, I've heard a lot of uncomfortably horny comments in regards to the voice, and the thing I actually hear the most often is it's a very relaxing and soothing voice, which is nice, but I'm trying to see which lists I'm adding it to. Yes, that is a compliment, but the one I'm hearing the most is, oh, you have a very wonderful soothing voice. I haven't heard specifically the it fits the character well yet. I'm trying to keep count of how many specific compliments I'm getting as well. It's one of the best ways to get myself a measured confidence boost. It's so hard to read that. It was a lot easier when I had pets to do all the damage for me. Okay, maybe this is a very worthy alternative to a final level. Let's go ahead and not just try to find every alternate route with every enemy. We just want to cut ourselves from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Oh, hello there. Handgun. Another seafaring weapon for us, then. Almost feels like they have variable timing on that attack. Then again, I know a lot of enemies will be slowed down when they take damage, so that might be why I'm having so much trouble parrying them. We have an enemies explode effect on our weapon, and come on, I know you're there. Not okay. You can apparently just turn around, I guess. That's different. What's going on, Akroma? Yeah, you can parry the explosions from those guys. The other interesting thing that you can parry that took me a long time to figure out was the swinging maces you find in a lot of areas. You can parry those too. And that one actually took me about 300 hours to find, so you're not alone. What the heck hit me? Was it the... I think it was the mutineer. Really, you're just gonna release yourself from the trap like that? You just parry in the direction. It's a little bit of a tight window, and you're definitely punished if you miss it. You can't roll from them. You can parry them, but you can't roll. Parry the explosion. Does it count as your damage if it hits other enemies? Unfortunately not. It does not reflect the explosion, like a projectile would. Where's the disengagement blueprint? That's the other one I basically won a lot of runs from. Because if I plan on beating this game, I'm definitely going to need that one. Carries me very, very far, having a short moment of reprieve to pop the secret area in prisoner's quarters. Oh, is that the one we used homunculus for? Did you already get the trident? Yes, and so far I haven't seen it again. Okay, we're almost back to half health. Maybe I should be a lot more careful trying to get those parries, given that I'm probably going to be exploding a lot of enemies. Don't want to miss one of those opportunities because an enemy dies right in front of us. Huh, I wonder how useful the wolf trap's going to be on this level. I wonder if it'll actually prevent an enemy from following us up the tower. Not that it prevents us from fighting them, but that we might not have to deal with their attacks. We have a route down here. You know, while we're doing a necromancy build, I think being able to pop tonic for the extra health is a lot better solution. Even though that ruins our oil synergy, it's definitely a good emergency button for us to pop that and then, say, immediately get an extended healing potion out. Given that we are essentially approaching the 2 final bosses, we don't need to worry about having too many flasks. We went through 2 of them on our first fight against the final boss, so... Where's that shrimp? Gotcha. Yeah, I really want to try the anchor. It seems like a very, very fun weapon. Say, get a couple of swings and then the third one, similar to the shark, will throw it, but it makes you follow afterwards. At least that's what I'm hoping it does, if it is a weapon. Oh, speaking of shark. Rooting the enemy and causing it to bleed. That doesn't compare to the katana. Katana's way better. Pick this up. 23 HP is better. Come on. Gotcha. Yeah, I always basically do... I mean, I think that's the meta. Spec into one stat and then... Ooh, nice. Spec into one stat and then if I can't from a dual stat scroll, then just go for whatever has most HP. Although, if I find a legendary weapon, I actually do a 50% stat build, since legendary weapons scale from 2 stats. So we need to reflect 3 cannonballs, basically. In what universe do cannonballs explode? I guess if you filled them with gunpowder, but you're mostly supposed to be getting the weight and force of that thing to hit someone. One of the medieval beliefs, actually, was that the lead in a cannonball would poison whoever it hits. But that weight flying at that velocity is just going to hurt or probably kill anyone it hits. You don't need to worry about poison damage when you already have the KO. The worst time for that game to freeze. Okay, what's going on? Are you dying? My computer better not be dying. Yeah, whatever. I think we'll be fine. And we almost have those 60 kills. 20 HP, slightly better. Oh, you see that parry? Beautiful. Run away from that. We almost have 60 kills. There we go. Jump right down into the trap, why don't you? It's a little difficult to read when those guys are attacking. At least, there's been a number of times in which I've tried to dodge roll upwards as they're launching a cannonball and I end up going right into it, so that's really why I'm usually being more cautious around those pirate enemies. We are not picking up the cursed artifact, you cannot make me. Hello and goodbye. Alright, before we get on to the very important boss battle here, it's time for a very quick bathroom break. I'm going to grab a drink and be right back. So, grant me just a couple minutes. Mic on. Headphones on. Face. Beautiful. Let us resume. We're right here at the ever so important boss battle. And that is my mix box hitting the table. Alright, unfortunately, every time I get up, I break my concentration for just enough that it might be a problem. What's that? What's the hand hook do? Last attack throws the target behind you, bumping other enemies it hits. Enemies thrown on the walls are dealt critical damage. So it's kind of like the So it's kind of like the Spartan sandals, but it hit someone behind you instead. Let's go for spite, since we're not going to be focusing on the restoring health from KOing enemies anymore. We're essentially just fighting bosses after this point. Melee is very strong. And next I do want to try the explosive crossbow. So we'll get that one started. What else do I like? Grappling hook's very fun. We'll get that one almost unlocked. Great Owl of War. You know what? We'll be going for another pet build soon enough. Just pops us a bit of DPS when it triggers. Everything else seems... I wonder... Burns the ground when the effect ends and covers the ground around you with inflammable oil. We're not interested in biters crawling from the dead. I think that one will be okay. There we go. There we go. Let's see if we can score some fire damage here. The bonus damage is a lot more important with anything there. There we go. Okay. And before I forget, we will need extended healing, absolutely. No mercy. And we might want some cooldown reduction. Heart of Ice synergizes with our trap, so that will let us enhance or reduce our cooldown on the tonic whenever we have someone trapped. And yeah, I mean, I don't do No Mercy on every build, but if I didn't have what I normally do when I get to the late game boss run is I'll respec into, what is it, Extended Flask or Extended Healing, Disengagement, and then either Dead Inside or Soldier's Durability, whichever the one is that increases your health. I do not have it unlocked over here. Usually I just go for as much extra health as possible and then the safety of disengagement, which once it triggers, I immediately pop the extended healing potion and should still have a second or two of a shield. Then I just go right back to fighting. Rock and roll. Hey girl, yours is the weapon I'm looking for. You having fun? What if I just told you to stand still? Oh great, of course she teleports. Not gonna let me have fun preventing you from playing the game, are you? And here we go. Oh right, that's the one we can't block. Jump. Okay, so it's 2 swings. And then she does the earthquake attack. And here comes Alterp, whatever his name is. Oh wait, no, that's another female character. I don't know why, but I always felt like that one was male out of the 3. But I guess the queen's gotta be surrounded by her best bitches. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Pop the potion. you are a pain. Wonder why I'll keep teleporting all the way back up there. Pop that again. Okay, we need to focus on parries a lot more than anything else. There's also one more health pickup that we have once we get to the top of the tower. We might want to try to wait here just to make sure we can get the tonic. Whew, take a breather. And resume. Of course. Okay, pop the other potion. And get KO'd anyway. Missed that first potion hit. Of course. So noted, we want to beat that second phase of the boss battle basically on high health, or make sure we do not mix it up on our way back up the tower. Yeah, that tonic wasn't going to last us long enough. Well, that is a 3.5 hour stream, so I think I'm actually going to take a rest here. Tomorrow is the BlazBlue VTuber tournament, which I'll be participating in. And nothing is currently planned on Sunday, but starting next week, hopefully I'm not going to be too sick to start on Inscription then, which will be something I'm looking forward to. And given the recent success with Dead Cells, I'd actually like to play a bit more of it. Yeah, sorry, Achroma, you came in very late into the stream, which I'd love to be here a bit more, but I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I haven't even had food since like 3 p.m., so I'm going to go ahead and relax a bit for the remainder of this evening. Tomorrow is the BlazBlue tourney, and I might even just play a bit of Dead Cells later, after that. Achroma, do you play fighting games at all, or do you follow them whatsoever? That's another main thing on this channel, is fighting games. I'm very fond of action stuff. Indeed. I usually stream about 6 p.m. CST on most nights, so... And then they usually go for about 2 to 4 hours. Not very good at fighting games. Well, if you were ever interested in picking them up, I am someone who is looking to teach them as much as possible. So, BlazBlue tomorrow, and I might be doing more Dead Cells afterwards. If basically no one shows up looking to spar a few matches afterwards, I think we'll go ahead back to this, because I'm loving my time with Dead Cells, and we definitely need to get our way back up there. I really hope we can beat that DLC sometime soon, and eventually be able to beat BC too, since it's been about, what, 12 deaths we had on that so far? This is normally a game I can spend hours and hours grinding, in fact, even all day when it's not on stream, but all the voice acting is definitely a little tiring. But thank you everyone for your attendance today. Class is formally dismissed. As always, thank you all for your attendance. There. I need to remember the entire routine every single time. I hope you have a good night, Achroma, and anyone else who might be lurking simultaneously. Heck, who knows, I might just stream this game more often in general.